Watch Dr. Drew's new show at 9 on HLN. Weeknights on HLN.
I'm joined by Harry Kropp. He is a forensic psychologist who actually evaluated Casey Anthony and spent 20 hours with her in 5 or 6 visits. Dr. Kropp, thank you for visiting us. So, you know, Casey did not testify in her own trial, and there was questions about her competency. Let me just throw up one question to start with. Do you believe that she had significant mental illness?
I do not believe, based on all of my interactions with her as well as the psychological testing, I don't believe that she has any diagnosable mental illness. She's always been competent to proceed from the initial stages of my involvement all the way through to the end of the trial.
Okay, now for my viewers, I want to try to break this down a little bit because we throw out a lot of terms that we use with great accuracy that the general public may not understand exactly what we're talking about. Let's talk about what we mean when we say mental illness. What are we saying then?
Well, when I'm referring to mental illness, I'm referring to a psychiatric or a psychological disorder. A person must meet certain behavioral criteria to be actually diagnosed with a mental illness. It doesn't mean
and Dr.
that a
Kropp,
person...
I'm gonna interrupt you. Do you mean, now this is you two clinicians talking here, I'll explain what I mean in a second. Do you mean Axis 1 diagnoses, or are you including Axis 2 in that?
For Casey, I'm including both Axis 1 and Axis 2.
Okay.
And one of the reasons
I'm going to say for the public, what he and I are talking about, Axis 1 are diagnoses like depression, anxiety disorders, and psychotic illnesses. People have thought disorders. They believe they're Napoleon, that kind of thing. Axis 2 is really what we've been talking about with Casey, which is chronic behavioral disturbances, lying, interpersonal chaos. It's hard for me, Dr. Kropp, to understand how she could not have an Axis 2 diagnosis.
I understand how that's difficult, both for you as well as the public, to believe that she doesn't have an Axis 2 disorder. I've seen on your show, as well as some of the other shows on your network, individuals coming on and making references to her as either a psychopath or a sociopath. One of the reasons that Casey actually authorized me to go public with the results of my evaluation was because she wanted it known to the public, both the good and the bad of Casey. But I think Casey feels that, and for obvious reasons, that the public has really only seen part of who Casey Anthony really is.
All right, so let me ask another question. So she may not have a diagnosable disorder with Axis 2. Does she have what we call borderline traits or sociopathic traits?
No, she doesn't have those traits either.
That's impossible. I can't believe that. Wait a minute, doctor, I can't believe that. She's created a vortex. She's a chronic liar. She's engaging in criminal behavior. How is that possible?
She's an intelligent woman, but basically an extremely immature woman. You have to understand that the Casey that I have been involved with, and I didn't get involved in the case until November of 2010, when I was requested to evaluate her for specifically for the purpose of possibly testifying at her sentencing phase if she were convicted. So I did not see the Casey that is shown on the TV and is shown on some of the videos and the recordings when she talked to her mother. When I spoke to Casey about those conversations and some of the things that have been shown on TV, she herself, and I'm not suggesting that she is denying that, but she herself has a difficult time truly understanding how she could have been so immature and how she could have engaged in the kind of behavior that the public has seen so much of her.
Again, I'm left with a big question mark over my head because that's sort of our job to try to understand those things and understand how she could have been. Was she involved in any negligence towards her child? I have 30 seconds for that answer.
No, not that I'm aware of.